shall we start the conference? Good morning to all dignitaries, guests and delegates. I, Himani Chaudhary, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Commerce and Business Studies, Motherhood University, Roorkee, feel privileged to welcome you all on the behalf of the Organizing Committee of National E-Conference on Research and Innovation in Commerce Management and Social Sciences for Sustainable National Development. We are so glad to have you here today. We appreciate your presence at this event. It is on occasions like this we get opportunities to test our knowledge and understanding. We look forward to getting exposure to what the best of the brains think about this very dynamic issue. On the occasion, I would like to welcome our conference dignitaries. We feel honored to have you with us. Our respectable chief guest, Professor Dr. Alok Kumar Satyawal sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Guru Ghasidas Vishwavidyalaya, Pune, Bilaspur. I welcome you, sir, from the bottom of my heart. I would like to request Professor P.K. Agarwal sir, Dean Faculty of Commerce and Business Studies, Motherhood University, and convener of the conference, to present the bouquet to the chief guest of the session, Professor Dr. Alok Kumar Satyawal. Please, sir.
You are welcome, sir. You are welcome.
Thank you, sir. Now, I welcome our respectable chief patron, Professor Dr. Narendra Sharma ji, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Motherhood University, Roorkee, who is also presiding the conference. A very warm welcome, sir. I would like to request Dr. Anil Kapil sir, co-convener of the conference, to present the bouquet to the chief patron of the conference and Vice Chancellor of our Motherhood University, Professor Dr. Narendra Sharma sir. Please, sir.
I welcome to Honorable Vice Chancellor sir in this conference.
Thank you, sir. I would like to welcome our guest of honor, Professor Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi, Advisor, India-Uzbekistan Entrepreneurship Center, and the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Uzbekistan, Tashkent. Welcome, sir. I would like to request Dr. Rahul Sharma sir, Professor, Faculty of Commerce and Business Studies at Motherhood University, to present the bouquet to our guest of honor, Professor Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi sir. Please, sir.
You are welcome, sir. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. I would like to welcome our next guest of honor, Dr. Bateshwar Singh sir, Associate Professor, Central University of Jharkhand, Ranchi, Jharkhand. Welcome, sir. I would like to request Mr. Saurabh Oswal sir, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Commerce and Business Studies, Motherhood University, and also the Organizing Secretary of the conference, to present the bouquet to our guest of honor, Dr. Bateshwar Singh sir. Please, sir.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, Dr. Naresh.
All respectable members of the advisory committee who guided us from time to time and provided their valuable input in making this conference successful. We welcome you, sir. Registrar, Dean, and Principals of the Motherhood University, Professors chairing the technical session, I welcome you all to the conference. Like every other auspicious occasion, let's start this program by offering a prayer to Ma Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. मैं मदरहुड विश्वविद्यालय परिवार के मुख्य व संरक्षक माननीय कुलपति महोदय प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर नरेंद्र शर्मा जी से इस कार्यक्रम को शुभारंभ करने की अनुमति चाहूंगी। माननीय प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर नरेंद्र शर्मा सर।
अनुमति कार्यक्रम स्टार्ट।
Thank you, sir. Now, it's my privilege to invite Professor P.K. Agarwal, the convener of today's National E-Conference and Dean Faculty of Commerce and Business Studies, Motherhood University, to welcome the gathering and also enlighten us about the National E-Conference on research and innovation in commerce, management, and social sciences for sustainable national development. Please, sir.
Thank you, Himani. Professor Dr. Alok Kumar Chakraval ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Guru Ghasidas Vishwavidyalaya, Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh. He is also the chief guest of today's e-conference. Chief Patron and presiding the e-conference, Professor Dr. Naren Sharma sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Motherhood University, Roorkee. Our guest of honor, Professor Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi, Advisor, Uzbek Indian Center for Entrepreneurship Development under Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Uzbekistan, Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Chief guest, Dr. Pateshwar Singh, guest speaker, Dr. Pateshwar Singh, Associate Professor, Central University, Jharkhand, Ranchi. Members of Advisory Board and Chairman of Technical Sessions, invited guests, Registrar Sir, Deans and Principals of Motherhood University, all participants, research scholars and dear students. On behalf of Motherhood University, I honorably welcome all the eminent speakers and guests from all over the country, from different walks of life, who all have joined today National E-Conference to share their knowledge and vast experience with academia, researchers, professionals and student community from India and abroad. No matter how much we can accomplish by ourselves, whether it be a research and development, it is never sufficient in the world of knowledge. Therefore, the focal drive of this conference is to exchange ideas, and by participating in this exchange, it is hoped that all parties who may benefit from the conference can apply it in active activities in their areas and also for the development and betterment of the society. The theme of the conference addresses sustainable development, which has become a popular catchphrase in contemporary development discourse. However, despite its pervasiveness and the massive popularity it has garnered over the years, the concept still seems unclear as many people continue to ask questions about its meaning and history, as well as what it entails and implies for development theory and practice. This is our endeavor to explore the answers of such questions. At present, sustainable development includes all the necessities of life necessary for all members of the society, including health, education, a clean environment, economic prosperity, strong political institutions, good governance, and so on. But the pandemic has reversed Most of our achievements made in the last 5-6 years since the country accepted this goal. The coronavirus pandemic has swept India and globally, affecting the personal and professional lives of millions of people, including students, educators, and educational researchers. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the urgent need for sustainable development as an effective tool to eradicate that pandemic. This global pandemic highlights the importance of research as it plays an important role in discovering new treatments and making sure that we use existing treatments in the best possible ways. Research has found answers to things that are unknown, filling gaps in knowledge and changing the way that healthcare professionals work. Research is what propels humanity forward. It is fueled by curiosity. We get curious, ask questions, and immerse ourselves in discovering everything that is to know. Learning is thriving. Without curiosity and research, progress would be slow to a halt, and our lives, as we know them, would be completely different. If early civilizations hadn't been curious about the dark sky, we won't have known anything about the space. Decades of research have led us to where we are today, a civilized society with knowledge and tools to move forward. The research has universal application, and conducting through research in business is an excellent strategy to learn more about the market, customers, and competition. With the information in hand, we can make innovative and well thought out decisions to help grow the business. Research helps companies to plan new products, develop advertising campaigns, and compete with direct competitors. Without research, companies would be left in silos trying to navigate the market in the dark. In addition, business research helps organizations to avoid future failures. Now, if we talk about initiatives taken by the government on such an important aspect, it has taken various initiatives to improve the global ranking of Indian education institutions and to increase the quantity and quality of research in universities, institutions through various schemes, awards, fellowships, programs with financial assistance. The National Education Policy 2020 provides specific attention on the importance of research. The government proposes to set up a National Research Foundation, NRF, to strengthen the research ecosystem in the country. NRF is being envisaged as an umbrella structure that will improve linkages between research and development, academia and industry. National Research Foundation is being built for the first time in the country. Finance Minister Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman embarked rupees 50,000 crore rupees over 5 years for the creation of a National Research Foundation in 2021 Union Budget. And we are all here for the same purpose. We have learned some tough lessons in the year 2020 and this year too. We are here to remember in this because of research and innovation in communication technology has enabled us to organize today's e-conference and invite some great people from all over the world. It is all because IT and communication tools that have promoted e-learning and distance education and work from home has become the norm in many sectors. Technology has enabled certain establishments in government and private sectors to work overtime to keep the wheels of the economy running. Thus, we have learned the lesson that adoption of science and technology in harmony with the nature will help sustain our survival and growth. The younger generation has learned the lesson well, and I believe that the future of India is safe in their hands. These are difficult times for all of us, more so for our youth. The closure of our educational institutions has caused anxiety among our learners, casting a shadow over their dreams and aspirations for the time being. To relieve their anxieties, it is the responsibility of the senior academicians to relieve their pressure by familiarizing them with communication technologies and engaging them with such kind of creative activities which also enhance their knowledge. However, I would like them to remember that these difficult times won't last and they should not give up working for their dreams. The past is full of inspiring examples of exciting reconstruction of societies, economies, and countries after such devastation. I am sure that our country and youth have a bright future. Today, more and more young generation is coming to do the research. I wish and I hope that National Conference on Research and Innovation in Commerce Management and Social Sciences for Sustainable National Development 2021 would be able to achieve its objectives in providing an effective forum for academicians and researchers in advancing knowledge and research for humanity. We had received 197 papers from India and overseas participants, out of which 59 papers were selected and to be presented in the technical session to exchange research and knowledge of current environment. As you all know that we are celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav nowadays, it is a proud moment for all of us that tomorrow India will complete 75 years as an independent nation, and it gives me an immense pleasure to greet you all on the eve of 75th Independence Day. In achieving the vision of our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, of Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat, let us join hands to make our India Shresth Bharat through research and innovation for leading the world in 21st century. I hope that you will enjoy today. Thank you all for the participation. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving valuable insights about the conference. I am profusely elated to take an opportunity to introduce our chief guest of the day, Professor Dr. Alok Kumar Chakrwal, Vice Chancellor, Guru Ghasidas Vishwavidyalaya, Pune, Bilaspur. Dr. Chakrwal, sir, has 29 years of experience in higher education, which includes 17 years of experience at top-level administration as Vice Chancellor, Professor, Coordinator, Director, and Controller of Examinations. His areas of specialization are Management, Accounts, Finance, Marketing, and Research. He has 25 plus experience in research. Under his able guidance, 20 students have been awarded PhD degree and 54 students have been awarded MPhil degree. Currently, 6 students are pursuing PhD under his supervision. Dr. Alok sir has published 14 books, 51 research papers, 1 monograph, and 14 popular articles. Dr. Chakrwal sir has achieved 3 gold medals at graduation and post-graduation level. He has also led Saurashtra University as IQAC coordinator to achieve grade A accreditation. It will be my proud pleasure to invite our chief guest, Professor Dr. Alok Kumar Chakrwal. The topic of his talk is recent advances in the area of research in commerce and management. Please, sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much for inviting to this wonderful event. First of all, I would like to congratulate Vice Chancellor of this Motherhood University, Professor Naresh Sharma ji, Professor Sanjeev Chaturvedi ji, from the Chamber of Commerce, Uzbekistan, Dr. Bapeshwar Singh ji, a very renowned research scholar in the field of commerce management, Anil Kapil ji, who has been in regular practice for conducting this wonderful event, and the brief what has been given by my previous speaker, I understand it is going to be a wonderful event for all of you. I would like to throw some light in a very extempore manner what is happening around and what should be done in future success. See, sustainable development is a concern for achievement. Uh, in 2015, United Nations Development Program proposed as many as 17 sustainable development goals. Out of those 17 goals, goal number 4 is for education and inclusion of downtroddentism, inclusion of all who are deprived of education from the primary to secondary education. That is the goal of that. India is one of the signatory countries of that SDG 4. And National Education Policy 2020 reflects majority of that commitment. Now we come to, again I would like to say something more upon that. See, sometimes what happens, this is my personal observation, that Western countries talk much about biodiversity, carbon saving, sustainable development, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to observe and follow the norms and set principles, they are the first people who are defying all. America was the first country which defied Tokyo Declaration, and then they came to Paris Accord also. They were not comfortable. So why always these developing countries are supposed and forced to follow the norms which you are not able to? Compare per capita energy consumption of India and America. You will find we consume hardly 5% of their consumption, but still they always direct us to be more precise, careful, and all. There was a problem of Indian exports goods were blocked because they wanted to impose certain drug marks and all that, whether child labor has been used or not. See, I agree that sustainable development means the kind of future we are going to provide to our forthcoming generation. Tomorrow's generation should always be the successor to the global warming, the extinction of different creatures and species, and cutting the trees and deforestation and all these things. So we want India should be a sustainable nation with the sustainable development. Now I'm coming to the research and innovation in the field of management and commerce. We have a lot of potential to do in that, but unfortunately, what happens? The quality of research is very much compromised. We need to ensure that the researches which are being carried out, they should be of high quality. And what is their ultimate outcome? After conducting research, say for example, most of the time when we talk about research, that means either of MPhil research or PhD research. But yes, industries are also doing research and they are having their different motive and objectives. But those students who are pursuing PhD, they are giving 3 to 5 years or sometimes 6, 7 years. And after that, they are getting a degree. That's wonderful thing. But we need to understand whether that devotion of 5 to 6 years, 7 years, 4 years has brought something new to the society. In the wake of development, are we going to sustain our development? Commerce and management, wonderful area, and a new education policy says that we need well-rounded graduates. So when we talk about well-rounded graduates, it means there is application of commerce management, because without that, nobody can survive, nobody can lead financial sustainability and well-being of the family and all that. So, why we are lacking in the quality of research? That is the question. And we need to inculcate a kind of culture where a devotion of 5 to 7 years is going to be somewhere helpful to the country and nation. And that is why we need to be very much selective about, very much particular about choosing the statement of the problem. What is the problem? Suddenly, financial analysis of this and that, X company, Y company, 5 years, 7 years. I think that is not going to happen, right? Or sometimes we do job satisfaction and this kind and that kind of thing. We need to understand what is the need of the society. Why people are poor? In India still there is a large number of people who are not able to have enough food to feed themselves. We have a large number of people in the country who are not who are below the poverty line. Of course, the government is doing wonderful job by DBT, direct benefit transfer, to Manrega, or different welfare schemes are being run by the government, and that's really appreciated. That's wonderful. The government is doing wonderful job. But it is not the only government which is responsible to uplift the society, and it is not only the government which is going to do all kind of things. We as a researchers have certain responsibility to make sure that society is going to be happy. We as a researcher are responsible to ensure the well-being of the society. It is not the ultimate motive that you are going to get the degree and after getting the degree you are getting a job of assistant professor or you are getting promotion as a professor or something like that. So my humble submission in this August gathering that we should, as a guide also and as a researcher also, we should always make sure that the topic of the research should be in line with the national sustainable development. Now, how it will improve, I tell you. There are certain things, certain users, I tell you. The very first thing is that we are very smart Indians. We always find out some way out of every restriction, every regulation. Like plagiarism is one restriction by the UGC, but people are there who are making fun of it. So I think blind review of PhD thesis or the researches which are conducted in the universities are indeed of the art, and that will help the enhancement of quality of research. Blind review, some of the universities are following that. It's not like that it is something new which I am talking. But there are very few, you can count the numbers on fingers that these are the universities which are doing blind review of such things. At the same time, I have seen most of the cases it is a kind of give and take, and I have observed that same kind of person is going to be identified as examiner, evaluator, or this. There has to be a big data bank of evaluators in this precise area who are going to evaluate the thesis or the research's objective. And at the same time, there has to be a public mandate of the researchers. I mean, the stakeholders should be there who are going to ensure whether the thesis or the research or the outcome of the research is going to benefit the society or industry. This way, commerce and management research will be certainly improved. Another thing I tell you, since it is going to be, I mean, we are going to break the silos, we are going to break the compartments. And recently I was participating in one of the nation's webinars organized by the UGC National Grants Commission. So Professor Sridhar was very much clear about that. There has to be T-shaped kind of education system, where what this horizontal is going to be like you are learning multidisciplinary, but vertical it is going to give you some specialized uh, expertise and you are going to be one of them. There is a kind of misperception also about this national education policy that we are going to break all impacts. Not like that. It is something like that. Okay, you carry on your masters as MBA or Master of Science, but at the same time you are given freedom to go for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics and multidisciplinary. So, a commerce graduate is supposed to understand what is science also. Therefore, commerce and management graduates will be able to commercialize the scientific ideas and they'll be finding and exploring some new ways, how to gain more benefits from the studying business, how to enhance our export business, how we can become a 5 trillion economy, why China is far ahead of us and why we are behind. So, researchers in the field of commerce and management will help us to become a superpower. We are soon going to surpass Chinese population. We are approximately 138 crore people, and very soon we will be surpassing them. But per capita income we are quite low. So we need to understand that how the researchers in management and commerce is going to enhance the per capita income of the people. How we are going to enhance the happiness index. How we are going to enhance our business comfortability. I mean, see, after this pandemic erupted, I mean, my old understanding is that ministry revised their labor laws to attract foreign investment to India. And good amount of foreign investment is coming to India. And that will happen only if we are going to rationalize the government restrictions and bureaucracy. See, red tapeism is harming the country very much. Somebody should do research on that area also, that how we can make India a business saving country and the foreign countries should come and help the country to grow. I have lots of things to share with you, but I wish all the best to the event organizers. I'm not taking much of time because my health is also not permitting me to speak much about that. I wish in the future to come something good will happen in the field of researches being conducted in the area of management and commerce for a sustainable India and sustainable world. With this, thank you very much for giving me a patient hearing. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir, for providing your gracious presence to join us today and enhance our learning and joy. Certainly, your address goes a long way in inspiring us to strive hard and achieve more. Thank you once again, sir. Now, on behalf of the Motherhood University, we would like to present a virtual memento as a token of honor and respect to our honorable chief guest, Dr. Alok Chakravarti. Now, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Narendra Sharma sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Motherhood University, Roorkee, to deliver his presiding address. Please, sir.
Professor Dr. Alok Kumar Chakravarti, Vice Chancellor, Guru Bhashidas Viswadhyalaya Central University, Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh, who is Chief Guest of today's e-conference, Professor Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi, Advisor India Uzbekistan Entrepreneurship Center, Uzbekistan, Dr. Bakeshwar Singh, Advisory Board Members, invited guests, participants, research scholars, and my dear students. On behalf of Motherhood University, I welcome you all in the national conference organized by Faculty of Commerce and Business Studies. At the very first outset, I would like to congratulate Professor Dr. Alok Kumar Chakraval, Vice Chancellor, for his achievements and his appointment as Vice Chancellor of a Central University Chhattisgarh. I would also like to appreciate the organizing team of the conference for their consistent planning and hard work for making this conference see the light of the day. The theme of the conference is Research and Innovation in Commerce, Management and Social Sciences for Sustainable National Development is very relevant in today's perspective as research and development is key to sustainable development in diverse fields. In older times, the business was dependent on goods through barter system, and slowly and dynamically the time has changed and the commerce has been transformed by digital revolution. In this regard, the Government of India connected the deprived people with the financial system of the country through Jan Dhan Yojana, and at the same time by direct benefit transfer to BPL community has eradicated the role of middlemen who used to exploit these people. At the same time, we see the transformation from value-added tax charged by different states of India to GST, a system of centralized tax structure under the vision of Ek Bharat. For promoting the trade, the Government of India came forward with the idea of Make in India, through which the entrepreneurs are encouraged to initiate the startups and lead the world through innovative export products. In this regard, I would like to mention special attention given by Government of India to toy manufacturers so that we can reduce our reliance of inputs from neighboring countries and consolidate our business class by taking benefit of ease of business. There are many such more innovative programs to the business environment to take India in the queue of developed countries. I hope that this conference would not only be a guide post of the academicians, researchers and students, but also for the policy makers. I congratulate all the participants and once again thanks to our chief guest Dr. Alok ji, guest of honors Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi ji, Dr. Bakeshwar Singh ji for their consent to be the part of this conference. And wish you a very safe and happy Independence Day in advance. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for devoting your precious time and enjoying the participants with your words of wisdom and experience. On behalf of the organizing team of Faculty of Commerce and Business Studies, we would like to present a virtual memento as a token of honor and respect of our Honorable Vice Chancellor. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Anil Kapil sir, the co-convener of the conference and Dean Faculty of Mathematics and Computer Science, to deliver the vote of thanks. Please, sir.
Thank you, Imani. Chief guest of today's e-conference, Professor Dr. Alok Kumar Chakraval, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Guru Ghasidas Vishwavidyalaya, Central University, Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh. Chief Patron of the e-conference, Professor Dr. Narendra Sharma, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Motherhood University, Roorkee. Our guest of honor, Professor Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi, Advisor, Uzbek, India, Center for Entrepreneurship Development under Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Uzbekistan, Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Guest speaker and my dear friend, Dr. Bateshwar Singh, Associate Professor, Central University of Jharkhand, Ranchi. Dr. Rakesh Yadav, Registrar, Motherhood University, our most valued members of Advisory Board and Chairman of Technical Sessions, invited guests, participants, research scholars, students, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on behalf of organizing committee of National E-Conference and the entire technical and logistics supporting team and fraternity of academicians here together, and on my own behalf, I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all speakers for gracing your important work and sharing with us your findings and opinions today. A big thank you to Chief Guest and keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Alok Kumar Chakraval, for his efforts towards recent advances in the area of research in commerce and management. I also wish to express my deep sense of gratitude Professor Dr. Narendra Sharma, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Motherhood University, Roorkee, for providing us the confidence, encouragement and motivation. I again wish to thank our dignitaries for sparing their valuable time and thoughts with us and make the inaugural session so gracious and wonderful. We regard and understand the precious time schedule of their offices. Your blessings have made the inaugural session of National Conference so special. Thanks, sir, for joining us, and please allow us to continue the session as plenary session. Now I am handing over the baton to Ms. Imani for the conduction of plenary session. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to invite our guest of honor, Professor Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi, sir, Advisor, India-Uzbekistan Entrepreneurship Center, Tashkent, Uzbekistan, for his deliberation. Professor Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi, sir, has a total of 31 years of experience. He has a long 18 years of experience in corporate, during which he worked with premier institutions like Lanafeda Industries Limited, Engineering Export Promotion Council, and PhD Chamber of Commerce in senior positions. He has 13 years of experience in academics, during which he worked with prestigious institutions like IIMM, Amity University Noida campus, Symbiosis Pune, and NSIMS University Mumbai, and NNI MSME Hyderabad. The topic of his keynote address is Business Opportunities in Central Asia, Focus Uzbekistan. Please, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Imani. First of all, I will
So voices, sir, your voice is cutting actually. You are not audible to us, sir. Please.
just
Sir, was I not audible?
my voice is okay.
Now, some extent we are able to hear you, sir. Okay.
So first of all, I would like to thank
happening all across India and now in places. It was also a great pleasure to hear the discuss the area where we should be. I think that was the mind opener for me because that is becoming a global value and value. So today my topic is about the Uzbekistan. So what I will do, I have divided my talk into three parts. First of all, about the Central Asia, what we are doing, and what are the business opportunities. So, Central Asia is consisting of 5 countries including Uzbekistan. It got independence from Russia in 1990. And 5 countries were got independent. Uzbekistan is the largest country in these 5 countries. So if you see the global map, you will find Pakistan, Afghanistan, then there is Pakistan, and then there is Uzbekistan is a double landlocked country, having a population of 3.8 crore people. So it's a very small country if you compare.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Your pitch of the voice is very low.
Okay. Give me 1 minute. I will go to another room.
Sure, sir. It is very low.
Now can you hear me?
Still pitch is low. Still pitch is low.
Now is it okay?
Sir, I think there is a network issue.
Yeah. I think if it is not coming, I am traveling in all the office. Like this.
Okay, sir.
So the problem is of where that's another challenge what we face here. But despite that, it's a small country if we compare to India or any state. But that is also important thing because Tashkent has been always important city in India because Lal Bahadur Shastri death took place in Tashkent. And we have a very good cultural center in Lal Bahadur Shastri. And it is run by Government of India over 3 decades now. And also we have a lot of cultural, I would say, bonding with Uzbekistan because of 2 reasons. First, normal dishes like what we call pulao or samosa in India is from Uzbekistan. Second, Babar was born here in a place called Andijan, and they have Babar Museum here. So the people who were which started the living in India came from Uzbekistan. And third, very importantly, in the modern world, our Bollywood is very popular here. So right from the times of Raj Kapoor, Amitabh Bachchan, Nithin Chakraborty, all the three Khans, Arjit songs are very popular. And if you go in any marriage in Uzbekistan, you will find some Indian songs. So they know Bollywood, and then now that is the cultural and social. And also yoga is very popular here. Prime Minister who has dedicated a full-time teacher in many countries to teach yoga. It is called Akshebo, and it is making yoga popular in many countries. There are 4,000 words which are common in Vedic language and also in Hindi. So that is also a very big similarity between the two cultures and two languages. So this is about the historical aspect. Now coming to the modern world, plenty of opportunities here. All the pharma companies based in Pakistan and Indonesia, they are having lots of stake in pharma industry of India. They experience a lot because of their IT, but more than IT is the pharma. So all medicines and are coming from India, and they have a very high regard for doctors and for paramedical operation. They can medical tourism is one of very, very important tool of business opportunity. You will get surprised that there are many companies who are in medical tourism. So they have tie-up with Indian hospitals and the doctors, and they give a full package to the patient and people who are supporting the patient. Right from buying the ticket, booking the hotel, the patient taking to the hospital or the special required. So medical tourism is one of the biggest opportunities for now, second, which is now coming up in the last 5-6 years, is about the IT sector. So the IT sector is developed by one of the Indians also, which is a writer like me, and his name is Mr. Parthasarathy. He is based in one of the cities in India. So he is looking after setting up the IT part. So any company who wants to come to India and want to do software or IT related services, then they are in touch with they have a very, as I said, IT also very third, which is very important now, is the agriculture product. And so what happens to me, because it's a cold country, there is no need 6 months during the winter, and they need so many types from rice and wheat, vegetables. So anyone who is in agriculture or packaging or logistics or supply chain management will have a very strong focus in Pakistan, and they can be fourth activity which I would suggest to my new students who are listening is English teaching classes. You will be surprised, like we used to have computer classes one time in India. Every group has a computer center. We are English classes. After integration with the USSR, which was volunteer, so now they are shifting their education from Russian to English. So now every road you will find at least one institute having English classes, and it is becoming especially popular in the younger English teaching classes can be one area where there is another thing which can be of great opportunity. Already two major universities in India have opened their branches, and I would request Dr. Sharma also and anybody else also, we are planning to go overseas to make a very, very good destination for our already MIT University and Tata University. They have opened their campuses in India, and this is the second year of study of the university, and it's almost past whenever they are related to it is the schools also. Schools are very expensive here. A normal good education will be around going up to $1,000 to $1,200. So school is a very lucrative focus. And very interesting thing, if you focus on education center here, the land and the building is given free of cost, almost free of cost by the government, because they want the best universities. So there are some UK universities, some Indian, and of course some established universities. So you can always think that there will be no major investment in the land and the building is free of cost. Another thing which I would like to focus lastly is the area of the machinery, because there is a lot of cultivation going on, and of course you will find a lot of activities in packing industry, so they need machines and tools for it. And anybody or any family who are accustomed to their family is the need if they are using machine and machine tools. I think this is one of the reasons so these are some of the areas which I could think of and list. But I would like to also tell a little bit about my center. We are India Uzbekistan Institute. This is the fifth center which the government of India has opened. So four they have already opened in Southeast Asia, which is they are also 5 more centers like us in Africa, starting with Kigali. So we have to develop the friendly countries for the entertainment. We are taking classes, we are going to business people, teaching them, sharing our knowledge from India, and also like to see that these. This is a 2-year contract, and it is not extended. And also, there is Chamber of Commerce here, which is the largest chamber of Uzbekistan, which is operational in this center. We have given us a staff and also the office and also an IT lab, which we have recently inaugurated by the Minister of External Affairs. He was interviewing in July, just about a month back. And these equipment, IT lab equipment, are a gift from India to Uzbekistan as a part of it. So we are doing a lot of activities here, including like connecting Indian students and Indian participants with Uzbek participants and also Uzbek participants. And we look forward that much more business will come out after pandemic, because pandemic 1.5 almost we have not been able to do any much business, and travel is also restricted. So this is, in a nutshell, I would have tried to present the activities, opportunities here in Uzbekistan. Lastly, I would like to say that Uzbekistan is not what we envisage in India, but it is basically it is like any modern city or country like Europe. The roads are neat and clean. There is light 24 hours. You can reach any part of the country by road, motorable road, and of course there is lots of civic sense, I would say, in the people here, like any European country. It's like you are living half the cost of any European. So this is all from my side. If you have any questions later on, you can contact the organizers, and I will be very happy to address any one of the questions which you need. And lastly, I would like to thank again the Vice Chancellor of Motherhood University and other dignitaries who have been listening to me and all the participants and researchers. My best wishes to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your knowledge with all the participants here today. Now, on behalf of the Motherhood University, we would like to present a virtual memento in honor of our respected guest of honor.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
There might be some technical issue. I request Sachin, sir.
Yes, you can carry on because you are visited on the screen, all the screen. You can come and move on.
Okay.
He is not able to connect. Please continue.
Okay. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Bateshwar Singh, Associate Professor, Central University of Jharkhand, Ranchi. Dr. Bateshwar Singh holds PhD in the area of accounting and finance from Banaras Hindu University. His research and teaching interests include banking, finance, and general management. Dr. Bateshwar sir has published about 24 research papers in various national and international journals, especially in the areas of finance, financial institutions, and banking. He has also been actively involved in joint research at national and international levels. Professor Sir has teaching and research experience of 22 years in the area of accounting and finance. The topic of his keynote address is Recent Advances in Direct Tax, Personal Tax Planning. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Sir, allow me, Dr. Professor Kapil, allow me for PPT sharing. Just
Sure.
Honorable Chief Guest Professor Alok Chakrawal, Vice Chancellor, Central University, Guru Ghasidas Central University, Bilaspur, Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Narendra Sharma ji, and Registrar Professor Rakesh Yadav, and Convener Professor R.K. Agrawal, Co-Convener my friend Dr. Anil Kapil, and Member of Organizing Committee. A warm good afternoon to all of you. It's give me immense pleasure and privilege to introducing with you on particular platform. Now today I like to talk about the recent advances in direct tax, personal tax planning. So as you know, tax is the main sources of income of the government, and government get a tax two different way, direct tax and indirect tax. While the direct tax are imposed income and profits, indirect tax are levied on goods and services. Indirect tax person pay tax from own pocket, right? And indirect tax person collect the tax from customer and pay to government. My topic cover under the direct tax. So let us come to direct tax planning, personal tax planning. Tax planning can be defined as arrangement owns financial economic affairs, taking complete legitimate benefit to all deduction, exemption, allowances, rebates, so that tax liability reduced to minimum in case of the lead person, in case of individual, how to minimize the tax liability, right? Tax is individual for the assessment year 2021. The gross total income is rupees 12,90,000. Tax on rupees 12,90,000 is 2,07,480. To reduce his tax liability, he deposited in a 1,50,000 in a PPF account. Consequently, his tax liability and tax liability therefore reduced to 11,40,000 and 1,60,680 respectively. As the tax liability has been reduced within the legal framework, right? It is a tax planning. And tax avoidance is reducing, neglecting to tax liability in a legal premises way has legal sanction. All the method which tax liability is illegally avoided, the terms also known as a tax evasion. For the individual, financial year 2021, financial year 2021 to 22, old regime, for the individual, for the senior citizens, no tax up to rupees 5 lakh senior citizens, senior residents, no tax up to rupees 5 lakh very senior citizens, no tax up to rupees 5 lakh. Rate of flat tax should be given up to 2,50,000, 3 lakh and 5 lakh. Exemption limit 5 lakh 5%, 5 to 10, 20%, and more than 10 lakh 30% tax should be levied in case of. And slab for the individual below 60 years up to 2,50,000, there is no tax. 2.5 to 5 lakh 5% tax should be levied, and 5 to 10 lakh 20% tax should be levied, and above 10 lakh 30% tax should be levied. If you have adopted a old tax regime, right? And for the senior citizens above 60 and less than 80, up to 3 lakh there is no tax. 3 to 5 lakh 5% tax should be levied, and 5 to 10 lakh 20% tax should be levied, and above 10 lakh 30% tax should be levied. In very super senior citizens age more than 80 years, up to 5 lakh there is no tax. 5 to 10 lakh 20%, and above 10 lakh 30% tax should be levied. Surcharge and marginal relief is available. Income exceeding rupees 50 lakh 10% surcharge should be applicable. Income exceeding rupees 100 lakh 15% surcharge should be applicable. Income exceeding 20 lakh 25% surcharge should be levied, and income exceeding rupees 500 lakh 37% surcharge should be levied. Health and education says 4%, and this is a very important tax rebate up to rupees 12,500, income up to rupees 5 lakh. Section 87A, rebate should be applicable if your income is up to rupees 5 lakh, then 12,500 rebate should be applicable. There is no tax up to rupees 5 lakh because rebate should be applicable as per the section 87. 87A is not applicable for the non-resident SSC. And tax increase, income increase for the financial year 2020 and 21 non-senior citizens. If your taxable income is rupees 3 lakh, tax should be levied. 2.5 lakh there is no tax, and 50,000 at the rate of 5%, 2,500 tax should be levied. But rebate should be applicable because your income is less than up to 5 lakh, right? then 2,500 rebate should be applicable. There is no tax liability, no cess, right? If your income is rupees 3 lakh. If your income is rupees 4 lakh, 2.5 lakh, there is no tax. 1.5 lakh at the rate of 5%, 7,005%, and rebate 87 should be applicable, right? Rebate should be applicable, and rebate 7,500 should be applicable, so that there is no tax liability, no business cess. If your income is rupees 5 lakh, 2.5 lakh, there is no tax. Next 2.5 lakh at the rate of 5%, 12,500. And rebate should be applicable because income is up to rupees 5 lakh, so that 12,500 rebate should be applicable, and there is no tax liability, no education and health cess should be applicable. But if your income is rupees 5 lakh 100, right, then 2.5 lakh, there is no tax. Next 2.5 lakh at the rate of 5%, 12,500, and 100 at the rate of 20% tax should be levied. In total 12,520 rupees tax should be levied, and there is no rebate because income is increasing rupees 100, right? 5 lakh 100, so that there is no tax rebate should be applicable. 87 are not, section 87A are not applicable because income are exceeding rupees 100 to jump limit, right? Then 12,520 and 5% cess, 13,021. Your income is increasing rupees 100, and your tax liability has been increased up to 13,021, right? So in this situation, you should donate under section 80G. आप डोनेट कर सकते हो, किसी को दान दे सकते हो, या प्राइम मिनिस्टर रिलीफ फंड में आप दान दे सकते हो, डोनेट कर सकते हो, एंड मिनिमाइज योर टैक्स लायबिलिटी अप टू रुपीज 13,021. 100 रुपीज दान करने पे आपका 13,021 टैक्स जो है लायबिलिटी रिड्यूस होगा, कम होगा, उतना आपको टैक्स नहीं देना पड़ेगा, राइट? इफ योर इनकम इज इंक्रीजिंग, इनकम इज 5,15,000, राइट? So 5,15,000, 2.5, there is no tax up to 2.5 lakh. Next 2.5 lakh, 2,50,000 at the rate of 5%, 12,500 plus 15,000 at the rate of 20%. Then total is a tax is a 15,500. There is no rebate should be applicable because your income are exceeding rupees 5 lakh. Right, the rebate applicable नहीं होगा. So tax liability 15,500 and 4% cess should be applicable. For education and health cess should be applicable, and total tax liability 16,120. Your income are exceeding rupees 15,000, and your tax liability has been increased up to 16,120. अगर आपका 5 लाख इनकम होता है तो देयर इज नो टैक्स, बट योर इनकम इज इंक्रीजिंग रुपीज 15,000 एंड योर टैक्स लायबिलिटी हैज बीन इंक्रीज अप टू 16,120. यहाँ भी आपको डोनेट करने में ही बेनिफिट है. 15,000 का इनकम 15,000 इनकम इंक्रीज करने पर योर टैक्स लायबिलिटी हैज बीन इंक्रीज अप टू 16,120. So you can donate, you can invest, you can purchase any mediclaim policy. कहीं भी आप यूटिलाइजेशन कर सकते हो 15,000 रुपए का, so that your tax liability has been reduced up to 16,120. This is a tax plan in case of personal, in case of salaried person. Later on discuss how to manage your tax liability, how to decrease your tax liability, right? In this situation, if your income is increasing 16,000, 5,16,420, right? Your 5,16,420, 2.5, there is a 2.5 lakh, there is a no tax. Next 2.5 lakh, 5%, 12,500, and 16,420 at the rate of 20%. So total tax is a 15,784, 4% education and health cess should be applicable, and total tax liability is 16,415. There is a break even point. राइट। आप यहाँ पे चाहो तो टैक्स ले लो, या आप चाहो तो कहीं इन्वेस्ट कर दो, जो है 16,420 का आप डोनेट कर दो, या कहीं इन्वेस्टमेंट करना है तो आप इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो। इफ यू हैव परचेज ए मेडिक्लेम पॉलिसी, इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर योर हेल्थ। तो यहाँ दिस इज a break even point, 5,16,420, यानी your income has been increased rupees 16,420, and your tax liability has been increased up to rupees 16,420. I am calculating tax according to old tax slab. This is the old tax slab, right? For individual financial year 2021, 22, optional new regime policy, right? You can choose old regime policy or new regime tax policy. Exemption limit for all resident, non-resident, any age, right? वहाँ पे था कि age below 60, below 80 and more than 80, right? For senior citizens, super senior citizens. But in case if you have adopted a new regime tax policy, there is no any exemption for the senior citizens, super senior citizens, right? Exemption limit is 2.5, 2,50,000, both the regime. Surcharge should be applicable 10%, 15%, 25%, 37%. Health and education cess at the rate of 4% should be applicable. There's a very important, people are confused कि 87 rebate should be applicable or not. तो आप rebate should be also applicable, right? Rebate आपका जो है ये applicable होगा दोनों केस में। ये if you have adopted a new regime tax policy or old tax regime policy, 87A is applicable, right? And maximum rebate 12,500 if taxable income up to rupees 5 lakh, right? 5 लाख से ज्यादा होगा तो applicable नहीं है। If your taxable income up to rupees 5 lakh, option choose new tax. If you have choose a new tax regime with the sacrificing of all deduction, जो भी आपको डिडक्शन मिलता है वो नहीं मिलेगा। If you have choose the new tax regime policy, sacrifice the deduction under section 115BAC, आपको कोई भी डिडक्शन नहीं मिलेगा, राइट? अभी लेटर ऑन डिस्कस की क्या क्या डिडक्शन मिलता है। If you have talked about new tax slab 2.5 to 5 lakh, 5% tax would be levied, 5 to 7.5, 10% tax would be levied. मतलब फर्स्ट केस में दोनों में इक्वल है, राइट? 5 to 7.5 lakh, 10% tax would be levied. If you talk about 5 to 7.5, old tax में 20% tax would be levied, right? तो यहाँ आपको if you have adopted new tax regime, 25,000 का बेनिफिट होगा। If tax 7.5 to 10 lakh, 15% tax would be levied. Old tax regime में 30% tax would be levied. आपको जो भी 20% tax would be levied, and यहाँ पे आपको 12,500 का बेनिफिट होगा। And 10 to 12.5 lakh, 20% tax would be levied in new tax slab, and old tax regime 30% tax would be levied. यहाँ पे 25,000 का बेनिफिट होगा। And 12.5 lakh to 15 lakh, 25% tax would be levied, and old tax regime 30% tax would be levied, 12,500 का बेनिफिट होगा। Above 15 lakh, a new tax slab 30% tax would be levied, and old tax slab 30% tax would be levied. There is a break-even point in case of income up to rupees 15 lakh. Total benefit in a new tax regime 75,000, right? And housing interest on loan rupees 2 lakh. Family pension standard deduction 15,000 or 1/3. HRA house rent allowance section, जो भी आपको house rent allowance deduction मिलता है, and section 10 subsection 13A, right? As per the section 10 subsection 13A, standard deduction. If you are a salaried income, standard deduction should be allowed. But in case if you have adopted a new tax regime, ये कोई भी ATC to ATU deduction आपको नहीं मिलेगा। Deduction are not allowed if you have adopted new tax regime. ATC 1,50,000, 1,50,000. ATCC 1B is related to new pension scheme, right? If you have, ये आपका जो OB 50,000 मिलता है डिडक्शन, ATCC 1B में 50,000, and employer and peers 80cc B2 will be continue, वो तो ऐड नहीं होता इनकम में, employer contribution, but if this is a very important, if you have your contribution is more than 50,000 per annum in a new pension scheme, right? Then आप इसको यूज कर सकते हो 80C में. अगर 50,000 तो यूज हो जाएगा 80cc 1B में, बट अगर आपका कंट्रीब्यूशन 2 लाख है तो आपको 80C में और इन्वेस्टमेंट करने की जरूरत नहीं है. ये दैट शुड बी ट्रांसफर इन 80C, राइट? 1,50,000 तक हम 80C में ट्रांसफर कर सकते हैं जो है, बट ऑल डिडक्शंस आर नॉट अलाउड इन न्यू टैक्स regime. ये सब अलाउड नहीं है. ये क्या डिडक्शन आर नॉट अलाउड अंडर द न्यू टैक्स regime. First 16 स्टैंडर्ड डिडक्शन. if you are a salaried income, पहले सबसे पहले माइनस होता. फर्स्ट you should deduct स्टैंडर्ड डिडक्शन अप टू रुपीज 50,000. वो जो है अलाउड नहीं है. बट इन इफ यू हैव adopt a old tax regime, then first salaried income minus स्टैंडर्ड डिडक्शन लेस करते हैं. ये डिडक्शन दैट शुड नॉट अलाउड इन ए न्यू टैक्स regime. Tax unemployment as per the section 24 are not allowed in a new tax regime. Interest on loan in respect of self-occupied house property maximum rupees 2 lakh, right? ये self-occupied house जो है now present time there are आप 2 self-occupied कर सकते हो. ये maximum deduction should be allowed up to rupees interest on loan rupees 2 lakh in a old tax regime में था. But if you have adopted a new tax regime, ये अलाउड नहीं होगा न्यू टैक्स regime में. सेक्शन 10 सबसेक्शन 13A हाउस रेंट अलाउंस, हाउस टेकन एज ए रेंट, राइट? हम कैलकुलेट करते हैं हाउस रेंट अलाउंस का कितना अमाउंट डिडक्टिव एग्जम्पशन फ्रॉम टैक्स होगा एज पर द सेक्शन 10 सबसेक्शन 13A. एक्चुअल HRA रिसीव, जो एम्प्लॉयर से रिसीव करते हैं एक्चुअल रिसीव HRA. हाउस रेंट अलाउंस रिसीव फ्रॉम employer, rent paid over 10% excess of salary, and 40% or 50% if house situated in a metro city 50%, other city 40%, whichever is less that is exempted from tax, right? तो ये old tax regime में हम जो है exempted करते थे, but in new tax regime का section 10 subsection 13A house rent allowance exemption are not allowed, right? Section 10 subsection 14 children education allowance 100 rupees per month as child residing in a hostel 300 rupees per month deduction मिलता है हमको जो है deduction in case section 10 subsection 14A में, वो भी allowed नहीं है new tax. Section 10 subsection 32 income of minor child rupees 1,500 per child as per the section 57 second A, वो भी अलाउड नहीं है in case of if you have adopted new tax regime. A standard deduction of a family pension 1/3 or 15,000 whichever is less deduction should be allowed in a old tax regime, but in new tax regime ये भी allowed नहीं है. Section 80C, 80cc, 80cc B1 already has been discussed की 80cc B1 maximum limit rupees 1,50,000. 80C में आपको if you have invest in a public provident fund account, if 80C में आप कहीं भी if you have purchased a LIC premium, आप tax benefit का FD कराते हो, if you have purchased a national saving certificate, कोई भी जो है that should be included on a 80cc, right? Maximum limit rupees 1,50,000 ये अलाउड नहीं है if you have adopted new tax regime. 80cc D1 new pension scheme maximum rupees 50,000 वो भी अलाउड नहीं है. That should be not allowed in a new tax regime. If you have adopted new tax regime, 80cc, 80c D1, 80c D1B is not allowed in if you have adopted new tax regime. 80D, if you have purchased मेडिक्लेम पॉलिसी ATD के अंतर्गत जो है नॉन सीनियर सिटीजन, इफ यू आर ए नॉन सीनियर सिटीजन, नॉन सीनियर बिलो एज 60, 25,000 का आप जो है if you have purchased a Mediclaim policy, 25,000 deduction should be allowed. If you have adopted a old tax regime, right? But in case new tax regime, ये deduction ATD medical Mediclaim policy का भी allowed नहीं है. If you are a senior citizens, 50,000 का आप कर सकते हो, और but ये भी allowed नहीं है. In case of you have adopted a old new tax regime. ATD भी 40,000, अगर आपको कोई सीवियर डिजीज है या बीमारी है तो फॉर द नॉर्मल सीनियर के लिए 40,000 एंड सीनियर सिटीजन्स के लिए 1 लाख रुपए डिडक्शन शुड बी अलाउड इन ए ओल्ड टैक्स रिजीम, राइट? बट दिस इज नॉट अलाउड इन न्यू टैक्स रिजीम. ATE, the very interest on education taken loan for higher education should be allowed as in a old tax regime. ये भी allowed नहीं है if you have adopted a new tax regime. ATEEA, additional deduction of housing loan rupees 1,50,000 if you have purchased a house 1920 assessment year, financial year, then additional deduction should be allowed rupees 1,50,000, right? And ATEEB, interest on loan taken for electric vehicle, right? Interest on loan taken for electric vehicle should be allowed in an old tax regime, but in new tax regime are not allowed. ATZ, right? Donation की बात कर रहे थे ना कि your income are exceeding 5 lakh 100 rupees, 100 रुपये बढ़ जाता है तो you should donate rupees under section ATG. आप कहीं भी डोनेट कर सकते हो, ये donation should be allowed. But if you have adopted new tax regime, that should be not allowed. ATG, ATPGA, आप पॉलिटिकल पार्टी को डोनेशन करते हो, राइट? ATGGC, डोनेट प्राइम मिनिस्टर रिलीफ फंड, चैरिटेबल पॉलिटिकल डोनेशंस, कहीं भी डोनेट कर दीजिए आप. डोनेट इन ATG, ATGGA, ATGGC, राइट? PM केयर फंड, कहीं भी डोनेट करोगे, इन इफ यू हैव अडॉप्टेड ए न्यू टैक्स regime, deduction should be not allowed, right? ATGG, deduction in respect of rent paid, right? Very important, those who are not getting any type of HRA, right? Those who are not received any type of HRA, जिनको HRA नहीं मिलता, फिक्स सैलरी मिलती है, तो उनको भी मिलता था ATGG में डिडक्शन जो है, राइट? तो डिडक्शन मिलता था कि ये रेंट जो है शुड बी अलाउड आपको, तो आपको ये देना पड़ता है, राइट? तो दिस शुड बी नॉट अलाउड. ATTTA में इंटरेस्ट ऑन बैंक सेविंग अकाउंट पे 10,000 डिबेट मिलता था इन ओल्ड टैक्स रिजीम में, but if you have adopted a new tax regime, there is no any deduction should be allowed rupees in a ATTTA. ATTTB, rupees 50,000 for a bank interest and post office for the senior citizen, right? ATTTB, if you are a senior citizen, rupees 50,000 allowed in a bank interest or post office, जो भी आप जमा करते हो पैसे, interest should be जो deduction should be allowed if you have adopted a old tax regime, but in a new tax regime ये भी अलाउड नहीं है आपको जो है. तो डिडक्शन आर नॉट अलाउड एज पर सेक्शन 115E इफ यू हैव अडॉप्टेड ये न्यू टैक्स regime. So very important, tax planning regarding house rent receipt, right? This is a very important. लोग पूछते हैं कि हम कितने का जो है रेंट रिसीट जो है एम्प्लॉयर को प्रोवाइड करा दें ताकि हमारा जो those are getting a house rent allowance, जितना हम हाउस रेंट पा रहे हैं जो है हमारा टोटली हाउस रेंट अमाउंट शुड बी exempted from tax. So this is a tax planning regarding house rent allowance, right? The rent can be paid by the relative including spouse. आप रेंट रिसीव जो है अपनी वाइफ से भी ले सकते हो, अपने फादर से, मदर से, किसी से भी रेंट रिसीव ले सकते हो. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको रेंट के घर में जाके रहना जरूरी है. आप दिखा दीजिए कि हम किराए पे रहते हैं, अपनी जो है घर का ऑनर कोई और है, आई एम रिसाइडिंग एट ए रेंट, और रेंट रिसीट उनसे आप ले सकते हो. द क्लेम ऑफ एग्जम्पशन ऑफ HRA रेंट रिसीट शुड बी कितना होना चाहिए? HRA प्लस 10% ऑफ बेसिक प्लस DA, राइट? इफ यू आर योर बेसिक 10% HRA कितने का रेंट रिसीट होना चाहिए कि इंटायर अमाउंट ऑफ HRA शुड बी एग्जम्प्टेड फ्रॉम टैक्स, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रिगार्डिंग टैक्स प्लानिंग ऑफ हाउस रेंट रिसीट, राइट? कि आपका जो है HRA जो अमाउंट मिल रहा है प्लस HRA रिसीट जो हो रहा है प्लस 10% ऑफ किसका 10%? बेसिक सैलरी प्लस DA का, राइट? एंड पैन ऑफ लैंडलॉर्ड जो भी है इज कंपल्सरी इफ योर रेंट एक्सीडिंग ₹1 लाख पर एनम। अगर 1 लाख रुपए से ज्यादा आपका जो है वो रेंट रिसीट है जो है रेंट आप पेड कर रहे हो, रेंट रिसीट लेना है आपको, यानी 8,330 रुपीज पर मंथ जो है, तो आपको लैंडलॉर्ड का पैन कार्ड देना कंपल्सरी है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल एज पर द सेम पे कमीशन, ये ओल्ड एग्जाम्पल लिया मैंने, ये इफ यू हैव जॉइन ए न्यू लेक्चरर असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर इन एनी यूनिवर्सिटी or college, your basic salary is 57,700, you are getting 16% HRA for example, तो 16% HRA जो है if you calculate 9,232, right? यानी you are getting 9,232, 16% अगर आप कैलकुलेट करोगे तो, और नियर अबाउट ईयरली जो है 1,11,784, right? You are getting HRA rupees 1,11,784 per annum, right? तो आपको सिंपली जो है you are getting 9,232 rupees per month as HRA, right? Then your basic salary is 57,700, DA rate is 17%, right? So how much DA is 9,809, यानी basic plus DA is equal to 67,509. Your rent receipt days जो आप HRA जो है per month 9,232 plus basic salary 57,700 plus 9,809 equal to जो आपका 67,509 आया है, right? तो then basic HRA 9,232 plus 10% of DA and basic, right? 6,751 and total rupees 15,983 per month. If you are sui rent receipt to employer rupees 15,983, your entire amount rupees 1,11,784, you are getting HRA, that should be exempted from tax as per section 10 subsection 13A. maximum deduction नहीं हो सकता है, right? 1,11,784, your entire amount should be exempted from tax if you are showing a rent receipt rupees 15,983. This is a very important. बहुत सारे लोग मेरा आई वाज इन चार्ज ऑफ फाइनेंस, तो हमसे पूछते थे कि हम कितने का रेंट रिसीट दे दें कि हमारा जो रेंट अमाउंट है जो HRA हम रिसीव कर रहे हैं इंटायर हाउस रेंट अलाउंस शुड बी एग्जम्प्टेड फ्रॉम टैक्स, राइट? तो हम बताते थे भाई आप बेसिक सैलरी प्लस DA का 10% प्लस जितना आप HRA रिसीव कर रहे हो, यू आर गेटिंग HRA 16%, 7 जो उतना भी है आपका, राइट? और टोटल करके उतने का रेंट रिसीट दे दो, योर इंटायर अमाउंट शुड बी, आप इसी के अकॉर्डिंग जितना भी आपका बेसिक पे होगा, इफ योर बेसिक पे इज रुपीज 2 लाख, राइट? तो आपका जो है अगर इफ यू आर रिसाइडिंग इन NCR दिल्ली तो अभी 24% था, 26% हो गया, तो 26% यू आर गेटिंग 52,000 एज ए हाउस रेंट अलाउंस, राइट? तो 52,000 प्लस बेसिक प्लस DA का, DA हो गया जो है आपका 28%, तो उसका टोटल करके 10% एंड जो आपका 10% प्लस 52,000, if you have so a rent receipt to this and this much, your entire amount should be exempted from tax. So basically formula ये है कि HRA plus 10% of basic plus DA का आप शो कर देते हो तो entire amount should be exempted from tax. This is a tax planning, is a very important tax planning in a house property, house rent allowance, right? एंड सेल्फ ऑक्युपाइड हाउस प्रॉपर्टी है नाउ 2। पहले था कि हम एक हाउस को सेल्फ ऑक्युपाइड प्रॉपर्टी दिखा सकते थे, नाउ प्रेजेंट टाइम 2 हाउस कैन बी सेल्फ ऑक्युपाइड, 2 हाउस कैन बी शो एज ए सेल्फ ऑक्युपाइड। मैक्सिमम इंटरेस्ट loan should be allowed rupees 2 lakh. Even the friends are very important. Maximum interest on loan rupees 2 lakh. जो आप दिखाते interest on loan should be deducted. If you have adopted a old tax regime, 2 लाख रुपए तक exempted from tax है, right? तो वो लोन जो है आप लोन कैन भी, ऐसा होता नहीं कि आप बैंक से ले सकते हो, लोन कैन बी इवन फ्रॉम फ्रेंड और रिलेटिव, दैट एग्जम्पशन शुड बी अलाउड। द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, ये नहीं कि बैंक से लो आप तभी आपको इंटरेस्ट ऑन लोन आपको जो है वो डिडक्टेबल मिलेगा, राइट? 2 लाख रुपए जो है यू कैन बी व्हेन फ्रेंड्स आर रिलेटिव, राइट? आप किसी से भी ले सकते हो। रुपीज 2 लाख की जो मैक्सिमम लिमिट है इंटरेस्ट ऑन लोन that should be exempted from, ये deducted from your total income, right? रुपीज 2 लाख, तो वो सेल्फ ऑक्युपाइड हाउस का 2 लाख रुपए लेस हो सकता है। बट दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, जो प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट देते हो, इंटरेस्ट तो 2 लाख रुपए अलाउड हो जाएगा, बट जो प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट का आप लेते हो, इफ यू आर गेटिंग ए लोन फ्रॉम बैंक 2 लाख रुपीज, तो आपका इंटरेस्ट का लोन शुड बी अलाउड एंड प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट 80C में डिडक्शन मिलता है 1,50,000, वो अलाउड नहीं होगा इफ यू आर गेटिंग ए लोन फ्रॉम फ्रेंड्स और रिलेटिव। अगर आप लोन फ्रेंड से या रिलेटिव से लेते हो तो वो आपको 1,50,000 80C में डिडक्शन नहीं मिलेगा, बट 2 लाख रुपीज इंटरेस्ट ऑन लोन वो डिडक्शन आपको मिलेगा। दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इफ यू आर गेटिंग ए लोन फ्रॉम रिलेटिव और फ्रेंड्स, राइट? रुपीज 2 lakh deductions should be allowed as a interest on loan, but principal amount of interest on loan are not deductible in ATC. वो ATC में हम नहीं दे सकते डिडक्शन, जबकि अगर आप बैंक से लेते हो तो वो मिल सकता है। लेट आउट प्रॉपर्टी ड्यू टू बी लेट आउट, नो लिमिट इंटरेस्ट ऑन सेलिंग टू बी एट दिस प्री कंस्ट्रक्शन पीरियड ऑन ए लोन। ऐसा नहीं है कि आप जो है लोन ले लिया, कंस्ट्रक्शन पीरियड में जो है इंटरेस्ट डिडक्शन शुड बी अलाउड, नहीं होता, राइट? प्री कंस्ट्रक्शन जो भी प्री कंस्ट्रक्शन पीरियड का लोन है स्प्रेड ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ 5 ईयर है, राइट? उसको 5 ईयर में डिवाइड कर सकते, यानी 1/5 जो भी इंटरेस्ट कंस्ट्रक्शन पीरियड का लोन होगा दैट शुड बी अलाउड इन ए स्प्रेड इन ए पीरियड ऑफ 5 ईयर। तो बेटर टू परचेज ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी लीविंग ऑन रेंट, दिस इज माय सजेशन, राइट? एंड टैक्स प्लानिंग थ्रू द गिफ्ट ट्रांसफर, एंड अक्सर टाइम होगा तो बता देना आप जो है प्लीज प्रोफेसर कपिल।
I will tell you, yes. Even how many slides are over there left?
अभी तो है जो है, लेकिन अभी साथ को स्लाइड और खत्म कर सकते हो।
Professor Agrawal, please.
Sir, he can continue. We have time.
Yeah.
Tax flowing through the gift transfer. Very important. Creation more tax facility. Income more tax facility to the gift and transfer. Adult, daughter, parent, grandparent, non-earning person. इनको आप ट्रांसफर कर सकते हो, एडल्ट को ट्रांसफर कर सकते हो, डॉक्टर को ट्रांसफर कर सकते हो, पेरेंट्स को, ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स को, दोज आर नॉन अर्निंग पर्सन, उन्हीं को करोगे आप। आपके पास जैसे आप रिटायर मिला आपको 1 लाख रुपये, आपको 1 करोड़ रुपया मिला हुआ है, आप यू कैन 1 करोड़ रुपया बैंक में रखोगे तो 6% इंटरेस्ट से तभी आपको 6,07,000 रुपये हो जाएगा, राइट? तो इससे हम क्या करते हैं, प्राप्त करते हैं। लेकिन पेरेंट लिटरेट है, आपने जो है एडल्ट सन को ट्रांसफर पर नॉट अर्निंग, ठीक है, और वो आपको जो है बाद में पता लगा कि उसने उड़ा दिया पैसे, तो दैट रिस्क कुड बी, ये रिस्क रहता है। नॉन अर्निंग पर्सन को आप ट्रांसफर कर सकते हो, वहाँ भी जो है टैक्स मिल जाएगा आपको। क्लबिंग प्रोविजन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। स्पाउस है, अगर आप सोच रहे हैं कि हम अपनी वाइफ को ट्रांसफर कर दे पैसा, ठीक है, 1 करोड़ रुपये आपने ट्रांसफर कर दिया, ठीक है, टैक्स बचने के लिए, या माइनर चाइल्ड तो टैक्स भी इन योर इनकम, सन वाइफ वो भी आपका जो है क्लब हो सकता है इनकम। अगर आप टैक्स बचने के लिए आप सोचते हैं कि यू शुड ट्रांसफर 1 करोड़ ऑन योर स्पाउस, राइट? आपको 10% उसको इंटरेस्ट मिल, 10 लाख रुपए जो है इंटरेस्ट मिलना है उसको, तो जैसे आप ट्रांसफर करोगे आपको 26 में उससे आएगा, वो ट्रांसफर दिखाएगा कि जो है कि कहाँ से ट्रांसफर हुआ है, राइट, एंड दैट शुड बी इंक्लूड इन योर टोटल इनकम। वो आपसे टोटल आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस डाटा जानते होंगे, उसके थ्रू जो है वो कट जाता है कि कहाँ से ट्रांसफर हुआ, से बचने के आप अपने राइट, तो वो क्लब होता है क्लबिंग प्राविधान, क्लबिंग प्राविधान, वो आपको टैक्स दे लेगा। जो इनकम टैक्स को रुपया है और आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का आजकल यूज कर रहे हैं, तो ये भी है क्लबिंग total income, and that should be a taxation. Tax planning through the gift revenue. This is a very important. If you have received non-relative tax up to ₹50,000, no tax up to ₹50,000, and this is a gift लेते हो, gift मिलता, there is no tax up to ₹50,000. But exceeding, आप suppose कर लो कि आपको 51,000 दे दिया, entire amount of taxable, right? On whole amount tax in your income. एक 4,000 दे दिया कोई बात नहीं, जैसे 51,000 देगा इंटायर 51,000, ऐसा नहीं होगा कि 50,000 इज नॉट टैक्सेबल तो 1,000 शुड बी टैक्सेबल। इंटायर 51,000 अमाउंट शुड बी टैक्सेबल एंड दैट शुड बी इंक्लूड इन योर टोटल इनकम। ये टोटल इनकम में आपको इंक्लूड हो जाएगा, राइट। दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। तो अगर आपको कोई फ्रेंड जो है वो गिफ्ट देता है 51,000 रुपीज का, आप उसको 2,000 रुपये का चेक दे दीजिए। 59,000 गिफ्ट हो गया, अब बोले 2,000 रुपये की पार्टी कर लेते हैं, ठीक है। तो 2,000 रुपये तो आपका जो है वो बच जाएगा। टैक्स जो है नियर अबाउट अगर 30% स्लैब में आते हैं तो नियर अबाउट 16,000 रुपीज टैक्स बच जाएगा आपका। 2,000 रुपये की पार्टी कर दीजिए। So this is a very important, no tax up to ₹50,000, but if you have received 51,000 from non-relative, right? So entire amount should be taxed. वो सारा कुछ taxable होता है। A minor child, spouse, son, wife, right? And relative, no tax, no limit. किसी के रिलेटिव से लेते हो आप, वो आपको कितना दे सकता है कि वो टैक्सेबल नहीं होगा, राइट। और रिलेटिव में क्या क्या आते हैं? चिल्ड्रेन, ग्रैंड चिल्ड्रेन, पेरेंट्स, ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स, ब्रदर्स और सिस्टर ऑफ पेरेंट्स, बट नॉट ए ब्रदर सिस्टर ऑफ ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स, राइट। नॉट ए ब्रदर सिस्टर ऑफ ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स, स्पाउस, पेरेंट्स, ग्रैंड ब्रदर सिस्टर, दिस आर नॉट इंक्लूड एज योर रिलेटिव। रिलेटिव में कौन कौन आएगा? चिल्ड्रेन, ग्रैंड चिल्ड्रेन, पेरेंट्स, ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स, ब्रदर्स, सिस्टर ऑफ पेरेंट्स, दीज आर द रिलेटिव। अदर जो है वो नॉन रिलेटिव। तो रिलेटिव से जो भी आप रिसीव करते हो जो है आपको कितना हो दे देगा जो है एज ए गिफ्ट, दैट अमाउंट जो है कोई लिमिट नहीं है। देयर इज नो टैक्स लायबिलिटी, आपका कोई इंक्रीज नहीं होगा। गिफ्ट इज नॉट इंक्लूडिंग योर टोटल इनकम। दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि आप किसी से लेते हो, अगर जो है नॉन रिलेटिव से लेते हो तो 50,000 से कम लीजिए, राइट, तो वो होगा। अगर रिलेटिव से लेते हो तो कोई लिमिट नहीं है, देयर इज नो लिमिट फॉर दैट। दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। ये लास्ट स्लाइड आपको बता के पास करेंगे। GTI income suppose 1,15 lakh, total tax liability is nil according to world tax regime, right? Standard deduction should be allowed 50,000 if you are salaried person, 50,000 standard deduction should be allowed. Income from house property, right? Interest का लोन should be allowed rupees 2 lakh, अगर आपने हाउस लोन लिया हुआ है तो 2 लाख रुपए वो अलाउड हो गया। ATC में लाइफ इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी, पब्लिक प्रोविडेंट फंड, स्कूल फी, जो बच्चे का स्कूल फी जो आप ट्यूशन फी देते हो, दैट शुड बी अलाउड इन योर ATC, राइट। अगर आप कुछ नहीं है तो आप उसको भी दिखा सकते हो, ATC में डिडक्शन ले सकते हो अप टू रुपीज। प्रिंसिपल, लोन प्रिंसिपल जो भी अभी बताया ना कि इंटरेस्ट, अगर आपने लोन इफ यू हैव परचेज ए हाउस ऑन फ्रॉम लोन, जो है लोन से परचेज किए हो तो दैट शुड बी अलाउड रुपीज 1 लाख, प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट शुड बी अलाउड एंड ATC में वो अलाउड होगा, राइट। PPF, पब्लिक प्रोविडेंट फंड, इफ यू हैव डिपॉजिटेड इन ए PPF, इफ यू हैव परचेज इन ए national saving certificate. Maximum deduction to be allowed 1,50,000 in a 80cc, right? 80cc भी one national pension scheme. Minimum maximum 50,000 should be allowed. Mediclaim policy already has been discussed. Children, spouse, किसी का भी लेते हो in case of 25,000 should be allowed deduction. And Mediclaim policy for the parents के लिए अगर ले रहे हो आप तो 50,000 that should be allowed as deduction, right? Preventive medical checkup सब अब दिखा सकते हो, कोई भी दिखा सकता है इसे. Preventive medical checkup के लिए 5,000 should be allowed. Medical treatment in case of handicapped person है 1,50,000 should be allowed. 80 additional interest on loan should be allowed. For a 1920, if you have purchased a new house, additional interest on loan should be allowed for the financial year 1920, 1,50,000. Education loan interest payment 1,50,000. Donation अगर आप 50,000 कर देते हो तो entire amount the income is rupees 5 lakh. 10,000 deduction should 10 lakh deduction should be allowed, and 10 lakh 5 lakh पे 2.5 lakh there is no tax, and 2.5 to 5 lakh 12,005%, 12,500, and rebate 87 should be applicable, and your tax liability is nil, right? Rebate जो है applicable होगा because your taxable income is rupees 5 lakh. Up to 5 lakh there is a rebate should be applicable. If you have adopted a old tax regime, right? 87A should be applicable. Young tax liability, your tax liability is nil. Your tax liability is nil. But GTI income is rupees 15 lakh. Total tax liability according to new tax regime, you should calculate 2.5. ये हुआ आपका 12,500, right? And ये total जो है tax आएगा 1,87,500, and 4% education and health cess, and tax liability is rupees 1,95,000 if you have adopted a new tax slab, right? And if you have adopted a old tax regime, there is no tax. But if you have adopted a new tax regime, your tax liability is increased up to 1,95,000. This is a very important. Those who are a salaried person, this is a very important point. Those who are a salaried person, right? So you have choose a old tax regime, right? Old tax standard deduction should be allowed 50,000 if you are getting salary. ये employer आपका NPS में डालता ही है 50,000, and NPS में 1,50,000 ADC में ले सकते हो, मिनिमम इन्वेस्टमेंट हो जाता है, तो 1,50,000 ADC में 50,000 स्टैंडर्ड डिडक्शन एंड 50,000 NPS 2.5 लाख हो गया, राइट? और इफ यू हैव परचेज ए मेडिक्लेम पॉलिसी, हाउस रेंट अलाउंस का आप ले सकते हो. रेंट रिसीट बता दिया आपको कि आप स्पाउस से भी ले सकते हो, तो हाउस रेंट रिसीट ले लो जो है जितने का आपको मैक्सिमम योर इंटायर अमाउंट शुड बी एग्जम्प्टेड फ्रॉम टैक्स, राइट? तो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि यू हैव चूज द, अगर आपका कुछ नहीं है इन्वेस्टमेंट तो यू विल गो थ्रू न्यू टैक्स रिजीम, तो आपको बेनिफिट होगा न्यू टैक्स रिजीम. बट ये इफ यू आर ए सेलिंग पर्सन you must choose the old tax regime. Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for very knowledgeable and informative session. Now, on behalf of the Motherhood University, we would like to present a virtual memento in honor of our respected guest of honor. There might be some technical issue again. Okay, it's presented. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite Dr. Anil Kapil, sir, the co-convener of the conference, to deliver the vote of thanks. Please, sir.
Thank you, Imani. Guest of honor of today's e-conference plenary session, Professor Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi, Advisor, Uzbek Indian Center for Entrepreneurship Development Center, under Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Uzbekistan, Tashkent, Uzbekistan. We pay our deep sense of appreciation for his elaborated talk on business opportunities in Central Asia, focused Uzbekistan. Further, we are highly grateful to guest of honor Dr. Bhateshwar Singh for his detailed reflection on recent advances in direct tax, personal tax planning. I may like to express our sincere thanks to Advisory Committee for giving an excellent inputs time to time. I also wish to express my gratitude to Professor Dr. Rakesh Yadav, Registrar, Motherhood University, Roorkee, for providing encouragement. I am also very grateful to Professor Dr. P.K. Agarwal, convener of conference, for his continuous analysis. I am highly thankful to all the participants and researchers for sharing their highly recognized research work in this conference and make the event successful. And we also would like to acknowledge our gratitude to organizing committee, their non-stop contribution to make this event a grand success. Once again, I thanks to all those which I skipped to take their names. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we will have a break for 10 minutes. I request all the research paper presenters to join your technical session through the link mailed and WhatsApp to you. The technical session will start after 10 minutes. Please join sharply at 1:05 p.m. Thank you all. Thank you all for the participation.